All right, before we get into this, I want you to do something. Close your eyes for a second and picture this. You're 6 years old, sitting in the backseat of your family's car. You're laughing with your brother and sister. Everything feels safe. Your parents are up front. The highway stretches endlessly ahead. It's just a normal road trip. But then in a single second, everything changes. The world flips upside down literally. And what follows isn't some made-up horror story. This actually happened. And it left a man screaming his wife's name in the pouring rain. More than 50 years later, those screams still haven't faded. This took place sometime in the early 1970s. The child, let's call him the survivor, was only 6 years old. His family was driving from Maryland all the way to California to visit relatives. His father was behind the wheel, his mother sitting calmly in the passenger seat. In the back were the three kids, him, his 11-year-old sister, and his 13-year-old brother. They had already been on the road for a while, and at this point, they were about 50 miles from home. They took an exit ramp off the interstate. Just another routine moment in what should have been a normal family trip. The road was wet. A light rain had started to fall, barely noticeable at first. Inside the car, everything felt normal. The low hum of the engine, the tires gliding across the pavement, casual conversation filling the space. No one had any idea that something small, something hidden, was about to turn this ordinary moment into nightmare. There was no reckless driving, no other car involved. Just a random mechanical failure, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And then it happened. Without warning a critical part in the front suspension, the upper ball joint suddenly failed. The steering wheel jerked violently, spinning out of control like something possessed. In that instant, it snapped 3 of the father's fingers. The pain must have been unbearable, but there was no time to react. The car had already lost control. The tires screamed against the wet road, and the entire vehicle began to tilt. The car flipped. Hard metal scraped against asphalt, glass shattered in every direction. And just like that, the world turned upside down. The vehicle slid on its roof, dragging across the road for nearly 60 feet. Rain poured in through the broken windows, soaking everything inside. In the back seat, the kids were thrown around, helplessly like rag dolls. And then suddenly, it stopped. A heavy, unnatural silence followed. Only the faint hiss of steam and the steady pounding of rain on twisted metal remained. The survivor remembers crawling out through the shattered rear window, his brother and sister right behind him. They stood there in the pouring rain, soaked, shaking, staring at the overturned wreck. Their hearts were racing, but their minds hadn't caught up yet. It didn't feel real. It felt like a nightmare. One they were supposed to wake up from at any moment. But they didn't wake up. Inside the wreck, their father was still trapped. He was reaching desperately, trying to get to his wife. And then he started screaming her name over and over again. Not just yelling, these were raw, guttural screams filled with panic, love, and pure terror. The kind of sound you never forget. His fingers were broken, bleeding. But he didn't care. He kept calling for her, refusing to accept what had already happened. Outside, the children could only stand there listening as their father's voice slowly broke apart in the rain. Their mother had already died. She had been crushed during the rollover, killed instantly. 25 years of marriage ended in a single, violent moment. No goodbyes, no final words, just silence. And no matter how hard he tried, their father couldn't bring her back. Decades later, the survivor, now in his 60s, says he remembers everything: the rain, the wreckage, the screams, especially the screams. He says he will never forget the sound of his father calling her name. It only takes 1 second, one small failure, for everything in your life to be taken away. There was no warning, no mistake, just a cruel twist of fate on a rainy highway ramp. Stories like this, they stay with you because they remind you how fragile everything really is. One bad second, and your entire world can flip upside down. If the story got to you, leave a like and let me know in the comments. What's a real story that still haunts you? And if you want more true horror like this, because some stories aren't just scary, they're real, and that's what makes them worse.